Well, I want to talk about the state of Maine, the great state of Maine, and their wise wisdom. I've stayed away from this topic because it irritates me to no end, right to my core. The politicians in this state have decided that they think it's a great idea for us to buy out the power company. The numbers, I guess they're looking at $13.9 billion to buy out the power company. And then our electricity would be supplied to us by politicians. I cannot imagine anybody in this state thinking that that's a good idea, except for a politician. The question that comes up in my mind is, why do they want that much power over the people? I'm not talking electricity power. If they have control of the power like that, and they're doing all kinds of stuff here in the state with the power, you know, everything from windmills to the solar panels, which is nothing more than the biggest hoax ever played on the Maine people. I got a question for you. Does any of your electricity come from a windmill? I'll give you a minute to answer it. So do you think any of your electricity is going to come from a solar panel that the state of Maine provides? And where they're getting in the solar panel business and the windmill business, what makes you think that they're not going to starve your house for power, electricity, like has been done in other states? From what I heard earlier in the year, Texas got the ability to turn off certain grids, and they were putting the people into brownouts during the peak hours of electricity. And there's more than one state that's doing that. So what makes you think that the state of Maine's not thinking the same thing? I don't have all the answers about anything, but I'll tell you what, this one doesn't smell right, doesn't feel right, and probably just plain wrong. So if you're in the camp that you believe the politicians are fighting for you, this probably isn't the video for you. Because who in their right mind would think that the government can handle the power? They can't take care of their own business and their own house without taking on another project. So feel free to jump into the comments. Tell me anything that you've learned about this power grab by the politicians in the state of Maine, because I would like to hear about it. And that's basically what it is too, a power grab. I do not, and they've been talking about it for, you know, more than a few years. This cropped up a few years ago, I remember it. And it didn't get very far. But the state, as far as I'm concerned, the state's not thinking right now anyways. It hasn't for quite some time when it comes to voting and all of that. So, you know, God only knows which way they're going to go in November. So if you're watching this and you're listening to me, I'm voting no for the politicians to do a power grab on the power that's supplied to the state. Doesn't feel right, doesn't smell right, and I'll bet you it's gonna be it's going to give them a lot of power to be able to shut your power off during the peak. And the peak might be when they're trying to put everybody on these solar farms and everything else. To me, that's what it's all about. Is they're trying to find a way to control how the power comes to your house and my house so that they can say these windmills are working, and they can say these solar farms are working, these solar panel farms that are putting up all over the state of Maine. It's absolute pollution. When you drive down the turnpike, or you're out in the lake somewhere, and all you can see now is wind farms, and now you're driving around the countryside and you see these solar panels cropping up in everybody's backyard and field. It's just plain garbage. It's pollution. That's not what this state is about. That's not what people come here to see. They don't come here to see solar panels. They don't come here to see wind farms. They come here to see trees and mountains and fresh air and wind and everything else. They don't come here to see that garbage. If that stuff was that great, then how come up there to Acadia National Park, that's not right full of wind farms and solar panels? If that's what the tourists are coming here to the state to see, then how come the state park up there, Acadia National Park, isn't filled with solar panels? Think about it. They want to fill your backyard. That's because they know it's not good. Doesn't take a genius to figure this one out. If you like videos like this one, or any of the 600 I have now for you to pick from, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. That stuff is really important. Important to let YouTube know that you like my channel, because that's the only kind of publicity that I get with YouTube, is through the like button and through you subscribing to the channel. If you're watching my videos, please take the time to figure out how to subscribe. If you're watching them on TV, or you're watching them through YouTube where you don't get any of the commercials or anything like that, I'm asking you to take the 5 minutes that it takes to log on to East Grand Woodsman, hit the subscribe button. You only got to do it once, but you know, that would make a big difference. You know, sometimes I get 1,000 views on a video, or more, 1,200, 2,000, more. Hit the subscribe button. Makes a big difference in how we're going to be able to keep this going. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out my Patreon channel, and I'll put a link to it down below. If you're if you want to help get behind this channel and help support it, the Patreon channel is the best place to do it, because YouTube takes too much. That's why I don't push anything that YouTube has going for you guys to make a donation, because it's not right, it's not fair, and YouTube takes the lion's share of the donation. So keep that in mind. Check out my Patreon channel, because I don't know how many there might be 100 videos there now. That's the pot. There might be 100 videos on the Patreon channel now that aren't on the YouTube channel. And not all of them are private for Patreon members. I always make sure to put some out there that are open to the public, because I want everybody to be able to participate in there. And it's not much to be a member. You can be a member for $5 a month, or you can contribute more than $5 a month. That's totally up to you. It's the same thing with YouTube. I try to share as much knowledge as I can. Sometimes on the Patreon channel, there's a lot more behind the scenes stuff. And right now we're putting out a video on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. But anyways, check us out. And thank you for participating in both, especially if you're already a Patreon member. But get over there and check out some of the free stuff, even if you're not a Patreon member. It's the politician power grab in the state of Maine. This is my commercial for that. Vote no on question 3. Vote no on question 3. Power grab by the politicians. I'm down here supposed to be enjoying myself. Sitting here relaxing next to a pot of traps. But every once in a while you think about what's going on around us. And this is why I do stuff like this. Because you don't know what's coming down the road next. Because if you think them boneheads in Washington are looking out for you, or you think the politicians in your state, doesn't have to be just Maine, if you think they're looking out for you, they're not. With my rifles and with these traps and a few other things that I've got going on, I can put meat in my freezer. That's been the #1 goal of my life since the first time I went out and shot my first rabbit. I shot my first ruffed grouse and could see the end result was I shot a ruffed grouse, I had a ruffed grouse for supper. I caught a brook trout, I had a brook trout for supper. I shot a deer, I had a freezer full of meat. I shot a bear, I had a freezer full of meat. No different now than it was 50 years ago as far as that goes in my life. We've added this trapping to the list because that takes up, a trap hunts 24/7. When I'm hunting in the woods, I can only hunt during the daylight hours. These traps, they hunt day and night. Day and night. All I gotta do is learn how to use them. That's one more method for putting food in my freezer. But keep that in mind, November. Vote no on question 3. And if you're thinking about voting yes, I would really soul search myself and figure out what I want in life. Because if you want a politician running your life, then you're probably not a true Mainer anyways. I would say there's probably a lot of truth to that fact. Not too many Mainers want politicians to be telling them what to do. Anyways, before I say something I'll regret. Hey, you guys have a great week. I'll see you later. I've got 3 more minutes to take them traps out of that boiling water, hang them up behind me, and put the other, oh, I don't know how many's there, half a dozen or 10 or something, put the other 10 in that pot. And then we'll be firing up the wax. Have a great week.